They said the case was over, but silence has a way of echoing.
They told us to forget his name. They told us the truth died with him. They told us the files were sealed for a reason. But files don't feel shame. Documents don't forget. And silence always leaves an echo. This is the story of the Epstein Files. My name is Andrew Keller. I'm not a journalist on television. I don't work for a major network. I'm just someone who learned, the hard way, that power survives best in quiet rooms. I didn't start this story looking for scandal. I started it because one question wouldn't leave me alone. How does someone accused by so many people walk free for so long? That question led me to a name Americans were told to forget: Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein didn't look powerful. No political office, no famous inventions, no public company with his name on it. Yet he had private jets, multiple luxury properties, access to the most exclusive rooms on earth, and strangely, no clear explanation for how he built his wealth. In America, mystery can be attractive. People assume success before they demand proof. That assumption opened doors. In the early 2000s, complaints surfaced. Young people described manipulation, money offered where protection should have existed, silence purchased instead of justice. Local investigators took notice. Evidence was gathered. Witnesses spoke. And then something unusual happened. The case didn't explode. It faded. Charges were reduced. Deals were made behind closed doors. Epstein served minimal consequences, with privileges most prisoners never see. For many Americans, the story never reached the headlines, and that absence mattered. People often misunderstand this phrase. The Epstein Files are not one document. They are court filings, depositions, civil lawsuits, travel records, financial disclosures, investigative journalism. Thousands of pages scattered across years. Each file alone seems small. Together, they tell a disturbing story, not just of one man, but of a system that failed repeatedly. One of the most uncomfortable truths in the Epstein Files is this: they rarely prove crimes by powerful people. Instead, they show proximity. Who attended events? Who stayed on properties? Who accepted invitations? Who asked no questions? And in America, distance from consequences often matters more than innocence. Silence becomes strategy. I spoke to retired legal professionals while researching this story. Off the record, many said the same thing. Cases like this don't fail because of lack of evidence. They fail because of pressure. Pressure on prosecutors, pressure on institutions, pressure to avoid embarrassment. Justice, when inconvenient, becomes negotiable. The Epstein Files are filled with names that never trend online. People without PR teams, without money, without influence. Their testimonies were consistent, their warnings ignored. Why? Because believing them would have required action, and action would have disturbed powerful routines. In 2019, federal authorities arrested Epstein again. This time, the nation watched. Old questions resurfaced. Why now? Why not before? Who protected him earlier? For a moment, it felt like accountability had arrived. Then suddenly, Epstein died in jail while awaiting trial. Official reports were released, investigations conducted, but public trust had already fractured because answers disappeared with him. One man died, but systems don't. The Epstein Files remained. Unsealed documents continued appearing. Journalists kept digging. Survivors kept speaking. And the story transformed. It was no longer about Epstein. It was about how long truth can be delayed. This case unsettled people not because of shock, but because of recognition. Many Americans realized wealth buys time, influence buys access, silence buys protection. The Epstein Files didn't reveal something new, they confirmed something people feared was already true. America moves fast. Outrage cycles last days. New scandals replace old ones, but documents don't fade with attention. Every unsealed page reopens wounds, and every delay teaches a dangerous lesson. Wait long enough, and people will stop asking. The Epstein Files don't ask us to speculate wildly. They ask us to look honestly. They ask, why were warnings ignored? Why were deals made quietly? Why did accountability arrive only after decades? And the most important question, would this case have ended differently if money wasn't involved? Silence is often framed as neutrality, but in the Epstein Files, silence was active. Silence delayed justice. Silence protected reputations. Silence isolated victims, and silence allowed repetition. People say, he's gone, move on. But moving on without learning guarantees repetition. The Epstein Files matter because similar structures still exist. Power still resists scrutiny. Victims still struggle to be believed. This is not history, it's a mirror. Justice isn't just punishment, it's prevention. It's listening early. It's questioning authority. It's refusing to let comfort override conscience. The Epstein Files remind us that accountability delayed becomes permission. I didn't tell this story to accuse. I told it to remember. Because when stories like this fade, the same silence grows again, and someone else pays the price. If this story stayed with you, you're not alone. If it made you uncomfortable, it was supposed to. Like this video if you believe truth matters more than power. Subscribe to HushedEcho for stories that live in the quiet spaces people try to ignore. Because behind every silence, there is always an echo.